Speeches, the bane of students' lives in the desolate and unforgiving landscape that we call high school. From the primary school speeches about yourself and your family to the persuasive speech we are graded on here today, you would be hard-pressed to find a student who actually enjoys making a speech. My question to you today is why? If the teacher isn't paying attention, every boy and girl in class will find an excuse to talk, to chat, to blabber on about whatever they choose to their friends. So why is speaking in front of your class, full of those very same friends, so much harder than normal conversation? Whether to an individual or a group of people, it always seems so much harder when all eyes are on you, and harder still to hold people's attention and convince them of your argument. Today, I'm going to convince you of one simple thing. Speeches can be the easiest thing in the world, every single time. Whether to a classroom or a boardroom, it will always be nothing more than mind over matter. And with practice, anyone, and I mean anyone, can give a speech worth remembering. Did you know that on the website www.proedit.com, fear of public speaking, glossophobia, is in the top 10 most common phobias? What if I told you it was in the top 5? And if I said to you that glossophobia was the #1 most common fear in the control group that was studied, how would you react? Would you stand up against me, even if you knew I was wrong? It seems like an outlandish statistic, right? After what I just said, with public speaking being so common, it seems like most of you wouldn't say anything, and just sit down, not speaking at all. It's at this point I have to ask you again, why? We will happily speak to a group of friends, argue the point, and even be proved wrong from time to time. Hell, if we will happily go on a rant, shout and scream when we know we are right, why can't we do the same in front of a class of our peers? If you were to ask me, I would say it's the difference between the way we talk to our friends and the way we make a speech. When I'm talking to my friends, I make jokes, I make people laugh, I engage, I'm passionate. Did you hear what I said at the start? Make jokes. Humour is the best icebreaker. I'll start us off. Why did the blind man fall down the well? Because he could not see that well. Oh, it's not that funny, I know, but you can't deny that humour, as immature as it may seem, is the perfect way to get to an audience. As soon as your audience is laughing, you have them. It's as simple as that. When you make someone laugh, it's kind of like making someone cry. You have a certain power over them, and while it might be subconscious, they will listen to you, even if it's just to hear another joke. If there's no other joke, who cares? Like I said, your audience is listening to you, and that won't change anytime soon. Standing in front of everyone, smiling, feeling it reflect back in the eyes of those watching you, laughing and hearing it echo back towards you, it's a feeling you don't get anywhere else. Public speaking. And the only thing that's stopping you from enjoying yourself is yourself. You think everyone is judging you. Everyone is looking for mispronunciation, a stutter, or a stumble. But if you come to the podium, the front of the classroom, the stage, with a spring in your step and a smile on your face, how can your audience not like you? If you're feeling terrified, fake it till you make it. Your audience will mirror this back at you. Okay, are you smiling yet? My next point is how easily you can make people remember your speech with one good one-liner. A few lines on a page, spoken with passion, can remain for generations to come and will be taught in classrooms around the world. I bet you can think of a few great speeches right now. Why didn't I start us off? 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth this continent, a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Maybe you don't know the whole quote, maybe a couple of words slipped your memory, but I think you know that Abraham Lincoln gave that same speech at the Gettysburg Address on that day, now 13 years ago. Do we still remember him? Of course. Another fantastic example is as follows. I have a dream that one day my 4 children will be judged, not by the colour of their skin, but by the content of their character. Martin Luther King, a civil and human rights activist to be remembered forever as one of the greatest public speakers of all time. And yet, are you familiar with any of his other speeches? No, of course not, but you don't need to be. All it takes is one good speech, one profound statement that really makes people go, wow, one moment with everyone's eyes on you for people to remember. Speeches are memorable, whether for clever language techniques or for simply speaking loud and clear with incredible passion. The best speeches will stand the test of time, from now to forever. Would you like to walk among the legends of history? Would you like to stand alongside those who spoke before you, have your words pored over in schools, and be remembered long after your death? We will speak at length, surrounded by our peers, and yet we will not speak to the same length, surrounded by those same peers, when one little detail changes. For high school students, that's a little more excusable. We know we're being graded, and therefore judged, and it could be a little more difficult to let go of this irrational fear and just speak. Stop seeing people judging you, just see people sitting there listening to you. There's a good one-liner. I'll leave you with this. It is a mind over matter thing. Making a good and memorable speech is easy if you take some time and some practice. Come up with some good lines and believe in what you're saying. What can go wrong? While glossophobia is the most common fear, fear of death is the second. You know what they have in common? They're a fear of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen when you step up on stage. But what I hope I have convinced you of here today is that if you take some time, you take some practice, then making a speech is the opposite of the unknown. You know what you're going to say. You know when you're going to say it. Again, how hard can it be? I'll leave you with this quote I came up with myself. There are some in life who say that a man dies twice. Once as he takes his last breath, and a second time when his name is last uttered upon this earth. Give a speech good enough, powerful enough, memorable enough, and you will not die. Not today, not tomorrow, or a month from now. Not next year, the next decade, or even next century. Speak with your head in your heart. Give it all you have, and you will not die. Not for a very, very long time. I hope you remember that.